Okay. What's going on, guys? Welcome to TGW 95. I think that's the number, right? Yeah, 95. Oh, boy. So, looks like I'm going to be flying solo for this show. This is the first broadcast in the new studio. Let me catch my breath. I just came running up the stairs with a cup of coffee. But yeah, like I said, this is the first broadcast I'm doing from the new studio, so hopefully everything looks and sounds good for the broadcast. I was supposed to be joined by Tech Deals today, but I don't really know where he is. I had messaged him a few times today with the topic list and everything like that, but he never got back to me, and we were scheduled to do the show together, but yeah, he didn't show up, so not really sure what happened there. I hope everything's okay with him. That's my chief concern. I hope everything's okay with him, but just haven't heard back from him at all. But yeah, it's been a crazy week. I haven't had a ton of other content really to really put out, except for the Sniper Ghost Warrior thing. And tomorrow I'm going to be in New York City as Acer is holding their Acer Next event. I went to that last year. I did a video that was titled "My First Time Ever Trying Virtual Reality." So I'm going to be going to this big Acer event tomorrow, which is at Lincoln Center, I believe, at the IMAX Theater in New York. They're going to be showing off a bunch of tech. I don't know exactly what's going to be there yet. There's going to be some VR presence there. I'm going to be interviewing the president of Acer, actually, Victor Chan. I'm going to be interviewing the president of Acer, which is a pretty awesome opportunity. I'm really looking forward to that. And checking out whatever they're showing off tomorrow with Acer in New York. And not really sure what I'll do afterwards. Maybe I'll hang out in the city or whatever. But yeah, studio is coming along nicely. I got pretty much everything in here now. I'm going to have a vlog going up tomorrow where I'm going to be announcing the winners of the Ryzen giveaway and also kind of showing off what I've got here in the studio space right now. Right now I'm running off of my Intel X99 system because I brought everything over, and this is the main system I had been using for TGW, so I've got all of my files on there basically for TGW so that everything is set up the way that I usually run it and all that. But yeah, everything else is pretty much here now. All I need to do is get my other main desk from the other studio. I didn't bring that right away because it has I have like drawers on the left side, and they're kind of screwed right in to the bottom of the desk. For people asking where Tech Deals is, maybe you got here late. He did not show up. He was scheduled to be on the show today, but he is not here. I'm not sure what happened with him, but yeah, he was scheduled to be here at 5:30. I spoke with him a couple days ago to make sure he was good for the broadcast, and we haven't spoke since then. But yeah, we were scheduled to do the show, and he hasn't shown up. So like I said earlier, I hope everything's all right with him. But yeah, we'll just have to get on with the show without him. But here's a quick glance of the studio. Let me go just Joker on this. Hopefully you guys can see this. It's lighting is not doing great for the webcam, but you can see behind me there I've got like all my monitors back over here. I've got the AMD PC over there. I've got a couple more PCs right behind me. Lighting for this is really not set up for what's behind me. It's really set up for me, but sorry about that. You'll see better in the vlog tomorrow. Like I said, I'm going to have a vlog going up tomorrow morning with the winners of the Ryzen giveaway. And once that is all up, then you guys get a nice look at the studio and everything I got in here. We are different time zones, but we've done the show for like a month now. So, I mean, we're pretty much on the ball as far as when the times for the show are concerned. But if he gets here late or whatever, and he messages me and he can dial into the show, then we will definitely do that. I'll bring him into the show late if he gets on. But for now, we'll just have to proceed with the show as is because I didn't want to cancel the show. I mean, I was like thinking about, should I just cancel? I was really prepared for, a two-man show. We don't have a ton of topics today, so I was really expecting the show to kind of expand out based on our discussions because both of us can be pretty long-winded when we get into a nice, juicy tech topic like the ones that we have here. So I guess we'll just have to, like I said, move on without him. First topic here is concerning AMD, as the title of the episode would suggest. And AMD over on Facebook has confirmed that Vega is going to be coming this quarter, which means they got about 2 months if they want to fit it into this quarter, because someone had asked them over on Facebook if they would be putting it when Vega is going to be coming out. Do they have any details coming out? And AMD responded with, when it is ready, and it will be this quarter. That is quote unquote. It said that it'll be ready when it is ready, and that will be this quarter. So going off of that would tell us that AMD Vega is coming in the next 2 months, which is pretty soon. So I guess by the end of June, we'd expect to see AMD Vega, which is awesome. Everyone's been waiting for that to finally get a high-end GPU from AMD that'll compete with the likes of the 1080 Ti and the Titan XP, and whether or not how close they can come to that, that's remains to be seen. Whether I'm really not 100% sure if they'll be able to beat the 1080 Ti or Titan XP. If they can, awesome. Would love to see that. But I think even if they can get close or kind of tie it, be neck and neck with them, but come in cheaper, where AMD usually kind of seems to shine as the better price to performance GPUs, then I think that'll be awesome. And having HBM2 and all of that will be exceptional. And they are saying that it is going to compete with the likes of the 1080 Ti. AMD recently did an AMA session over on Tom's Hardware, specifically Don Woligorsky from the Radeon RX Vega said that the performance is looking really nice when compared to the GeForce GTX 1080 Ti and the Titan XP. So that sounds really good for Vega, because that's really right where they need to be. If they're going to come out with Vega, with HBM2 and all of that, but then the GPU can only compete with the likes of like a 1070, 1080, I think it would be underwhelming for a lot of consumers out there that have been waiting for the high-end graphics cards to come out, unless they can come in at a better price point than that. But I really want to see these competing with 1080 Ti. I've got a FreeSync 3840 by 1600 monitor just sitting over there that I've been using with a 1080 and a 1080 Ti. I've been kind of interchanging those back and forth, and it's a great experience, using those with the desktop and all that. But I feel like I'm not getting the full experience because I can't take advantage of the FreeSync technology built in on that display, and it's a 75 hertz monitor, so it's not like I could just throw VSync off and never have to worry about screen tearing or anything like that. Even with with a 1080 Ti, there are a lot of games like Rainbow Six Siege, Overwatch, where I'll definitely get over that 75 FPS and screen tearing gets introduced. So it would be great to have the FreeSync support on the GPU, but nothing I have right now can really power that resolution. The only thing that would be conceivable to match with it would be a Fury X, and I don't have one of those. But even a Fury X, I still feel for the resolution of 3840 by 1600 is going to be a bit underpowered unless you start lowering down graphics options, maybe playing at high settings and using resolution scaling, that sort of thing. But I really want to take full advantage of that resolution because the pixel density is great. I love using it at the desktop. It's probably the best professional monitor that I've used so far. So having something like Vega to throw in with it will just be absolutely perfect. And can't wait for Vega to come out. And as soon as it does come out, if it's beating my 1080 Ti, then I will just ditch that out of my system straight away and hopefully pair it up with a with a Ryzen CPU. That would be pretty good. As far as Nvidia is concerned, though, it looks like we may be seeing GDDR6 coming sometime early next year. Hynix has already hinted that they're going to have DDR6 modules ready for early 2018. So sometime between January and April of 2018, they said in the next 12 months. So conceivably that would be between January and April of next year. That is promising a theoretical bandwidth of 768 gigabytes per second, which is just insanely fast. And, judging off of what we've seen so far with HBM2, how long it's taken for them, to kind of get that ready, it feels like AMD kind of was banking on getting that maybe in 2016, but they haven't had the yields that they would have liked with HBM2, so they had to kind of settle with the Polaris lineup, kind of going after the main branch of the consumer market, but staying out of the high end at least until now with Vega. But the price is going to be another big concern with HBM2, as the availability seems to be somewhat limited, and now it looks like Nvidia has their eyes set on DDR6. But the other thing I think to consider is whether or not they'll still go with HBM2 on their super high-end GPUs, which will they're talking about the calling the next series going to be like the 2080 and the 2070, 2060. So it's not going to, at least from what I've heard so far in rumors, it's not going to go from 1080 to 1180, but they're going to call it the 2080 instead. So talking about those GPUs, what I'm theorizing is that they might use DDR6 in some of the lower end models like 2070 on downward, and then maybe use HBM2 for the likes of the 2080, the new Titan X Volta edition, and also I would assume the 2080 Ti as well, or maybe they'll just hold on to it for the Ti and the Titan and just stick with DDR6 for the 2080 on downward. That's a possibility. We saw them do that with the 10 series where they put DDR5X only on the highest end GPUs and stuck with regular DDR5 on the lower end from the 1070 on down. So that's a possibility that we will see. We might even get more details coming in May, as Nvidia is being set to showcase Volta in early May next year. So we might just get to see that sooner than a lot of people have expected, at least just as far as a stage presentation is concerned. Nvidia is going to be doing one of their events in May, so we just might see them talking about Volta a little bit. And they really haven't alluded too much about it since they did a presentation back in, I think it was like 2014, where they had talked about stacked DRAM, which they've now ditched. They initially had planned to use stacked DRAM, but they ditched that idea as the yields on that it just really didn't flesh out. And the route has really gone towards HBM rather than stacked DRAM. And Hynix has kind of stuck with DDR5X and going into DDR6 now. So it doesn't look like we're going to see a stacked DRAM configuration on Volta, but more likely we'll see, I think, a mix of DDR6 as well as HBM2. But you guys can let me know what you think about that. Titan XV, yeah, I would say that's probably a safe bet on what they're going to call it there. But I'm checking over the chat right here now, seeing if anyone's put anything interesting to say on this. Pierre G said, it will be nice if Vega can match the 1080 performance, not TI. Yeah, if they can match the 1080 performance but come in significantly cheaper, then that would certainly be interesting. But I really want to see them compete with TI, or at least just the TI, which is basically Titan XP performance. You can kind of bundle those in together. Tech and Gamer for Life said he broke his Ryzen 1700 as he dropped it and broke a pin off. Do you think you can do an RMA on it? Probably not, since it was your fault. I mean, you could always try and say that it came like that, but yeah, that's not really honest. But you never know. But yeah, I would say your chances of RMAing it because of breaking a pin off yourself is probably not very likely. No, Volta would not be coming in May, but we would likely see a showcase from Nvidia talking about Volta, kind of, bringing things along, because they had talked about it a while ago. If you look at the roadmap on this image here, you could see it went Kepler, Maxwell, Volta. So you may note there's no Pascal in there, and that's because they really didn't plan on putting out Pascal, but instead they put out Pascal as kind of a stopgap because Volta wasn't ready. They didn't have the stacked DRAM. They ended up going with HBM2. For Volta and now DDR6 as well. So Pascal was kind of put as a stopgap in the center there because it supports both DDR5 as well as HBM. So Volta may just be an amped up version of Pascal, but with HBM2 added into it. But maybe not too different as far as the actual GPU is concerned, because it does support both. Continuing on with Nvidia, they did just put out a new driver. I believe it was yesterday or today. I got it today, but I think it may have been posted yesterday on their website. But they put up 381.89, which is adding in support for Warhammer 40K. Also, Heroes of the Storm 2.0, Batman VR, as well as Rick and Morty VR as well. So, yeah, we got the new driver there from Nvidia. Just kind of a PSA on that. I did download and install the driver, but I haven't seen any significant issues with it. I wouldn't say that I saw any massive gains either in terms of what I've been playing, but I haven't had any issues with the driver as of yet. I installed it about 3 or 4 hours ago, played a couple of rounds of Siege and PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, and yeah, no issues so far. Elite Gaming HQ, thank you, sir, for the $20 donation. Very much thank you, sir. He says, hello, I'm Andrew, and I run a YouTube channel, Elite Gaming HQ. Love what you guys do. I love what you guys do. Would love to work together sometime in the future. How do you think Ryzen 3 launch will do? Do you think it will be good low end for budget gaming? I am definitely excited to see what Ryzen 3 could do after what we saw with Ryzen 5. Even, the lower end parts are not all that different in terms of just gaming performance with the higher end Ryzen 7 CPUs. So if Ryzen 3 can come out and kind of, keep the pace as far as IPC is concerned, and, because right now we're not seeing a lot of games taking advantage of like the 8 cores, 16 threads or the 6 cores, 12 threads. So, having 4-core CPUs at Ryzen 5, it's really holding in there as far as performance is concerned with the higher end parts. So I'm definitely excited to see what Ryzen 3 can do for for the lower end budget, for people wanting to build really cheap PCs like $500-600 PCs for stuff like Heroes of the Storm, Dota, CS:GO, Overwatch, some of the most common games played. I had someone asking about this the other day in the comments. They were saying, why is it that reviewers are always benchmarking these games like Hitman, Rise of the Tomb Raider, Deus Ex, games that have such low, player bases? And, the reason for it is that they are graphically demanding. We want to test the GPU's, full potential, games that are going to push them to 100%. And also a lot of the games that the person had mentioned, the ones I just said there, also have built-in benchmarks. So it kind of makes it a little bit easier on us as far as reviewers are concerned. But when I usually review like laptops, more affordable things, I do tend to go towards games like the ones I mentioned there, like CS:GO, Dota 2, Heroes of the Storm, League of Legends, because they definitely have a much bigger player bases than the than like the GTX 1080 or something like. I'm sorry, why am I saying 1080? I'm saying much bigger player bases than the games I mentioned that we benchmark a lot. But also, I think most of those people that are playing those games like League of Legends probably aren't going out and picking up 1080 Ti's day one. I mean, I'm sure there are some people that go out and pick up those cards and play those games. But it seems, since those games aren't that graphically demanding, you can almost play them on any laptop, even if you borrowed your dad's old laptop, running at 1360 by 768 resolution. Chances are you'll be able to at least play some of those games at an acceptable FPS. And, that is, I think, what a vast majority of people playing on those games are using is, maybe more affordable systems, pre-built laptops and stuff like that, which is why I think I did a $500 laptop video last year, which was amazingly successful, and all I did was benchmark those types of games, the really popular online multiplayer games that aren't really that graphically demanding, but I felt like it was suiting for the laptop that I was testing it on, and a lot of people picked it up just because they were playing those types of games. So I really think you got to kind of pick which games you're going to test based on the hardware that you're using and what really makes sense for it. So that's kind of why I think we test on different stuff. But back to what Elite Gaming was asking for, Ryzen 3, yes, I definitely think it's going to be competitive, and I am looking forward to testing it out for sure. What was this, a few days ago, Steve over at Gamers Nexus, who's been on the show quite a few times, awesome guy, met him up at PAX East. They published an article where they benchmarked the RX 580 in Crossfire with the RX 480, which just kind of reiterates the whole rebranding on thing, where this is really just a rebranded RX 480 to the point now where you can just run these GPUs in Crossfire without much interference from yourself. And the performance numbers were not that great. The scaling was not very good on many of these titles. I mean, we saw, let's see here, the RX 580 Gaming X got 78.7 FPS in the Mass Effect Andromeda GPU benchmark. And then when cross-fired with the RX 480, it jumped to 100 FPS average. So about 20 FPS gain there. Pretty good bump up, but not really all that much. And as he even pointed out in the article, is that Mass Effect Andromeda actually kind of cheats as far as the Crossfire is concerned, where it's not really, it basically lowers the graphics options in the game to give you a bump in performance. As you can see here, you see the screenshots of the game, and then you can come down here and you can see what it looks like when it's not using Crossfire. So, as he said, it would probably be better off using a single GPU in a game like that. The only game that really shined as far as the scaling was concerned was Sniper Elite 4, which saw pretty much double the performance, like almost 100% scaling, which is the best you can really ask for whenever you're doing SLI or Crossfire. They went from 39.8 FPS to 79 FPS, so 100% jump by using Crossfire, even with mismatched GPUs like the RX 580 and 480. So yeah, if you're playing only that game, then sure, it'll be a good idea. But as he wraps up in the conclusion, really wouldn't recommend it for most people, as the scaling in the majority of games is really not going to be anywhere near what we're seeing in Sniper Elite 4. So, really great that the developers of that game got the Crossfire working as good as it is. But in the long run, even if you're running a single 480 and you're thinking about picking up a second 480, then it's probably not the best idea. Your best bet would be going with a single powerful GPU, which is kind of why I, begrudgingly ditched SLI about a year ago when the 1080 came out. I had used 770s in SLI, then I used 980s in SLI, followed by 980 Ti's in SLI. And once the 1080 came out and had the performance that it was, I was just like, you know what, I really don't need SLI anymore. I'm done with the headache of it, because we got to the point where these GPUs like the 1080 and now the 1080 Ti are able to push resolutions like 1440p at ultra settings on pretty much, well, especially with the Ti, on any game out there at max settings, getting well over 60 FPS. So being able to see that on a single GPU, it's like, why am I going to bother with the headache of SLI anymore? I mean, you've got it can be fun if you just want to go out there and do it just because you can. But at the end of the day, if I'm recommending a build to someone, I would much rather recommend them go out and get like a 1080 Ti versus getting like two 1070s, which, I'm sure people have debated that, like, oh, should I get two 1070s or a 1080 Ti? The answer is simple. Get the 1080 Ti, because you're going to do much better. You're not going to have to deal with any of the headaches or worry about a game coming out and not scaling. Can't tell you how many games came out when I was using SLI where, at day one, it wasn't supported or wasn't working perfectly. And it just is a shitty feeling. You just feel like you've got like hundreds of dollars of hardware sitting there just being unutilized in any way. So it just sucks. It gets really depressing after a while when you're trying to play all these games and nothing is being supported, unfortunately. So, yeah. Last topic here today is on Call of Duty World War II. I had watched the live stream earlier on this, and also while I'm going over this topic, if you want to put any questions in chat for the Q&A, I will certainly go over those after we get done with the topic of Call of Duty World War II, which, unlike previous Call of Duty games, I'm actually looking forward to this one. I like that they're going back to the roots with World War II, and everything they said about it so far sounds really interesting. They talked about the campaign. Mostly, we only got a few seconds of teaser of the multiplayer. They showed a screenshot also of a zombie, which hints that Nazi zombies coming back. There's going to be a zombie co-op campaign. Nazi zombies, that is. So I was always a fan of Nazi zombies, so I'm glad they're going to be going back to having that. And then the World War II stuff, really great if they can nail it and kind of get away with what they were doing recently with the space games and just go back to its roots, and not just necessarily the roots of being a World War II game, but also in the gameplay style. I feel like after like Call of Duty World at War, they just kind of lost the plot as far as the multiplayer is concerned, with like Modern Warfare 2, where they had like 25 kill streaks where you just call in a nuke and kill everyone on the map. It's like, no, it was good in Call of Duty 4. It was good in World at War. You had a couple of kill streaks going on. But, I mean, I would be perfectly fine if they got rid of kill streaks altogether. I don't need kill streaks. I'd rather be rewarded for the way that I play the game, and not because I happen to go on a lucky streak and get 7 kills in a row and call in attack dogs or an attack helicopter or something along those lines. So if they can, do this right, then awesome. I would love to see Call of Duty get back to where they once were. I know there's a lot of hatred towards that franchise just because it's been the same rinse and repeat copy pasta every single friggin' year with this franchise. So if they can do something good, then I'm all for it. It's going to be coming out November 3rd. As far as the multiplayer is concerned, they only showed about like a 2-second preview. And here you can see it right here. Basically, they just kind of went over, it kind of zoomed in, and you can see a battlefield here. Or it looks like a queue, basically, where there's like, I don't know, like maybe 30 or 40 people sitting in there, ready to waiting for a match. And yeah, it looks like a lot more than what you would normally see in the Call of Duty multiplayer, which has been limited to 12, sometimes 18 players if you played on that one mode. But yeah, this looks good. They talked about a war mode, which will have like a sort of like a story progression in the multiplayer as the game goes on, which sounds good. Just want to see them do new things. I'm glad they're going back to their roots, but I would also like to see them do new stuff as well. And while war isn't necessarily a completely new mode, they did have a war mode in World at War, which was kind of like a different version of not capture the flag. It was like you would advance the objective, almost like Russian Battlefield. So they're going to be doing this here, which does sound pretty interesting. I'll certainly look forward to trying it out. And they are going to be doing a closed beta for people that pre-order the game, but wouldn't advise anyone to pre-order any games. Yes, reminds me of Battle Royale, that lobby. It certainly did. That was my first instinct when I saw that. I was like, this looks like a lobby for PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds where everyone's queuing up before the match starts, which would be, hey, that would be awesome. Like if they want to rip off, Battle Royale mode and put that into a Call of Duty game, if they could do it right, more power to them. If they could do it right, that is, they got to do it right. If it comes out and it's just, hey, we included the Battle Royale mode because Battle Royale is really popular right now, then I could care less if it's not good. It's got to be new. It's got to be interesting. It's got to have a different spin on it in some way, shape, or form. So, yeah, that was the last topic here. Let's see if we got any questions here in the chat. Let's see. Tech Gamer for Life asked if I'll be changing over to 0.1% and 1% lows. The trouble with that, as I've mentioned in previous TGWs, is that requires me to use what's it called? The thing. Present mon. So using that requires, like, you need to have, it's a very, very raw data collection tool. If you really want to utilize it, you got to like get in there and code and write your own like software to be able to read the data and everything. So it's not as easy as just like downloading a program like Fraps and hitting a button and getting those numbers. It requires a bit more know-how as far as coding is concerned. But I have a buddy who is a coder, and I have sent him over the GitHub files and stuff so you can look them over and maybe try to get something set up so that I could have an interface that I could use. And if he does do that, then the thing I said to him right away is, because so many people, when they all these other channels and websites that they work on this stuff and get it set up to their liking, and then they just kind of hoard the knowledge. I was just like, dude, if we get this done and we get it done right, the first thing we need to do is just make it open source and throw it on GitHub, because that's just the right thing to do as far as I'm concerned. So if I get that up and running and we get everything working properly, with an easy interface to be able to benchmark stuff like that with PresentMon, then yeah, we'll open source that shit and do it all day long. Let's see, any more questions in the chat? Someone said, "Where's Tech Deals again?" Well, he was scheduled to be on the show, and he didn't make it. I'm not sure what happened with him. Alex Rusu said Vega compete with 1080 Ti. Well, that's what the rumors are saying, or at least that's what AMD said. They said it will compete with the likes of the Ti and the Titan XP, which will be awesome to see when it's finally available. Justin Chan asked potential guest host for future TGWs. Not sure. I would like to get on maybe like Oz Talks Hardware. He would be really good to get on. Another is Adored TV, who I've talked to several times about getting him on the show, but his living situation right now is just not great for doing live broadcasts. So yeah, we'll just. But he's already told me a number of times, once his living situation is okay where he can do a live stream, that he's going to be coming on TGW straight away. And yes, it was only a 30-minute TGW today. It's because I'm flying solo. Usually when I usually have two people on, the show goes about double the length because you got two people talking. But since I'm just kind of talking to you guys right now, the show kind of goes by a lot quicker than usual. So that's why it was only about 30 minutes. I thought I saw one. Do you think AMD taking on two power for one company in the long run? So, okay, so he was saying, do you think AMD taking on two powerhouses, those being Nvidia and Intel, is an insurmountable task for one company in the long run, being AMD? Because they're basically competing on the GPU and the CPU front. It's almost like Nazi Germany competing against Russia and the United States at the same time, coming from both ends. But I think they have different divisions working on both things, and I think it's something they can certainly do. I mean, they're not looking to necessarily always be the best of the best of the best, but they're the best price to performance, which AMD has kind of always been. And I think they just hit it out of the park with Ryzen. And if they can do that again with Vega and make it affordable, then that's awesome. Maybe try to get Jay's 2 cents on the show. I have asked him in the past, but he's a very, very busy guy, so I have not been able to get Jay on the show, unfortunately. I was on Tech Talk twice, but I haven't been able to pin him down to get him on the show. But maybe in the future, once he's available. He finally finished the Terry Crews build, which was awesome. That was so cool. Love Terry Crews, man. Ever since he got into PC gaming, like, just seeing the happiness on that guy's face, like, brings a little tear to my eye, honestly. When I saw those original Facebook videos, like where he's bonding with his son over PC gaming because he just needed something to bond with him over, just seems like such a genuine guy. And seeing him getting into PC gaming and just bringing a good spin to the PC Master Race, absolutely awesome. And congrats to Jay for working with him on the Terry Crews build, which looked amazing. Oh, what a beautiful PC. Let's see. Any more questions here? Is Tech Deals having his teeth on? It's a possibility. You never know. He does have absolute perfect teeth. They are over. I hear he uses overclocked toothpaste, so it's a possibility. Salazar, yes, I will be getting Salazar on probably next month. I had talked to him about a week or two ago to see if he wanted to come on and do the show. It was kind of on short notice, but he's doing finals right now. He's having final. He's at college, so they're doing finals right now. But after the end of the school year, he'll have I'm assuming he'll have the whole summer available to work on content and stuff. So once that's over, once his finals and all that are over, he is going to be on the show. Probably next month. I'm not sure if it'll be just with me or if Tech Deals is back to do more shows, then maybe we'll do a 3-man show with Tech Deals as well as Salazar. I still have trouble calling him Salazar Studio. He'll always be Science Studio to me. I thought Science Studio was a better name. I don't know. That's just me. Let's see. Any more questions? Get Linus. That would be interesting. I saw Linus at PAX West, and I just kind of went the other way. He looked busy and angry, and I was just like, I'm not going to go talk to him. And then I saw him a second time, but he was in the middle of recording at the Intel booth because I guess he was sponsored out there to do like the Intel Rig Challenge or whatever. So but it would be cool to get Linus on if he was available to come on, or Luke as well. Luke does follow. I don't know if Linus knows who I am. Luke follows me on Twitter, but I don't know if I can get him on for the show. We'll try. Joker has Wendell in his pocket. Not bad. Yeah, Wendell's a great guy. He always seems to be available to do the show. Doesn't ever seem to be too busy to come on and do the show, even though he's got his own channel, his own weekly broadcast and everything. So, yeah, Wendell's always in the back of my mind to come on for the show. I don't know why people give Salazar a lot of crap, honestly. I know he did that video, saying that AMD Ryzen 5 wasn't going to be better than the i5 lineup, and he was like 100% right. When it came down to IPC, it's not better. It's not better than he was right in a lot of those regards. Should he have come out and said that before it came out? Debatable. But honestly, I really don't think he was that far off the mark with the things that he was saying. Mind Blank Tech, yes, he is also another one in the back of my mind as someone getting on for the future. Because he did. I really enjoyed his video he did on the RAM performance with Ryzen. I think he's got a really good upcoming channel. He got a lot of growth out of that. I'm glad to see it because his content is great. Camera quality also, if you're into that stuff, amazing. But yeah, Mind Blank for sure. He's in the back of my mind. I think he followed me back on Twitter. So maybe I'll message him about getting him on back next week or something. Oh, and actually, I'm sorry. Next week there will be no show because next week is my birthday, and we're going to be going away for my birthday, so there will actually be no TGW next week. But maybe I can get Mind Blank for the following week. I will message him. I will see about getting Mind Blank Tech on, and if we can make it work with the the time schedule and all that. I'm not sure exactly where he's from. By his accent, he sounds like he's like Eastern European or maybe Russian. I don't want to be offensive by saying the wrong country, but just to my ear, that's what he sounds like. So I'm not really sure, what time zone he's in, or maybe he's stateside for all I know and moved here a while ago. But his accent is pretty strong. I would say either Eastern European or Russian. Maybe someone in the chat will know exactly where he's from. I haven't watched all his videos. Maybe he's mentioned it in the past, but I'm not sure. But if he's available and the time schedule all works, I would love to have Mind Blank Tech on the show. That would be great. And thank you for the happy birthday wishes, Jarvis, and everyone else in chat. But yeah, thanks everyone for coming to hang out. Sorry once again for having to do the solo broadcast without Tech Deals. It would have been great to have him for some of these topics, but hopefully we can get him back on for the next TGW broadcast, which will be in 2 weeks' time. If not, I will find someone else to step in. Either for a single show or for multiple shows. Maybe, like I said, Mind Blank Tech, Wendell's a possibility, Salazar Studio. All of those people are definite possibilities. Happy 40th. I will not be 40th. I will not be 40. I am not turning 40. But yeah, I will gonna get out of here. Thank you once again, guys, for watching. If you enjoyed the broadcast, don't forget to leave us a like down below. Subscribe if you're not already. Although you're probably subscribed. You're watching my show, so you're probably subscribed. Ice Cream Man. I hear the Ice Cream Man. Okay, now I really got to go because there's an Ice Cream Man. I'm kidding. I'm not going to get ice cream. I'm going to go have dinner right now. My girlfriend's cooking downstairs. Can't wait. Dinner, made for me. Love it. All right, guys. I'll catch you next time. And there'll be a vlog tomorrow with the winners for the Ryzen giveaway, so keep an eye out for that. All right? I will catch you guys next time. Ta-da!